What's going on, everybody? Roger Rabbit Showdown here, and today I have my Week 6 battle of the GBA D-League. Now, you may be asking, what happened to the other weeks? Well, my laptop, which I no longer use, was having a lot of issues with disk space, and I basically couldn't render anything. So, I just thought, don't want to put a really bad video on my channel, so I just opted out of uploading those. So but yeah, so this week is against Gary, who took over for Frank Trode in the D-League because Frank had a lot of personal stuff going on and felt it was necessary for him to leave the league, which is completely respectable. Gary took over Frank's team, and yeah, so I have a battle against him this week. Now, as you can see, there's a team preview on your screen. I have a lead Deoxys Speed with Hazard's Taunt and Psycho Boost. Max Speed, Max HP. Assault Vest Hariyama with enough speed to outspeed standard Clefable. A specially defensive Subseeding Celebi. A physically defensive Scald, Mirror Coat, Haze Recover, Melodic. Mixed defenses with Intimidate, Roar, Gyarados, and a Assault Vest Snorlax with Body Slam, Earthquake, Superpower, and Self-Destruct, I believe. And as you can see on Gary's side, he has a pretty scary core in Manectric and Landorus, along with Keldeo and Conkeldurr as his offensive threats, and Empoleon and Clefable as his more defensive mons. So I just want you all to know that before we start, that this is a bit of a long battle. It's I think 50 turns, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get into the battle. Alright, so here we go. Black screen before the battle, of course, and we have Gary with a fantastic panda hat on. He is issuing a challenge to me, sends out Landorus first, obviously. Now, this Deoxys does actually outspeed a Scarfed Landorus, and I was really interested in what kind of set he was running, because if he was running Scarfed Landorus, it was much more threatening to my team. Now, he's probably going to predict me to have Ice Beam here, and he knows that I outspeed him, so I'm just going to go for my Stealth Rocks, predicting him to switch out. Actually, I go for Taunt. My apologies, because I thought he might be a defensive lead Landorus with Rocks. Now I'm going to set up the Stealth Rocks against this Empoleon. I do know it has the Fog, but it is taunted after all, so kind of taking risking the burn a bit here, and is Empoleon just going to stay in? I'm going to switch out into Celebi, I believe. Very good switch in this entire match to this Empoleon. As you all can see, that does nothing. Does not get the burn. Even if he did, I have the natural cure, so it's not too big of a deal. Believe I just go for a sub here. He sees that, obviously, and he's just gonna go for another. No, he's gonna go for Defog, right? Because he wants my hazards off the field, obviously. He sees sub. I'm gonna go for the Leech Seed. I do believe I do go for the Leech Seed. Celebi is a pretty good stop to a lot of his team this match, so it was relatively safe to switch into multiple things. Depending on what the Keldeo set was, of course. He could be running, the infamous HP bug Keldeo. He's going to roar me out into Deoxys. I believe I go for another taunt this turn and get some health back from Leech Seed there. A lot of after turn effects going on. This Empoleon is a bit of a bitch to take down this entire game. So he is going to send in Landorus on, I believe, was Taunt. It was in fact Taunt. And I am pretty sure I just go for the Psycho Boost right here. And this Psycho Boost is a crit, and comes so close to killing him. Now, clearly I did not deserve that crit, but he is going to nearly prevent me from setting up any more hazards, but that U-turn does not end up killing. So, once again, he brings in Empoleon, getting some lefties, all that jazz. A lot of after turn effects. And I set up rocks, hoping that he'd eventually have to bring in Landorus on rocks. He's going to go for Scald, and I am just going to go down with Deoxys. So he picks up the first kill this match. Not that it really mattered, though. Deoxys wasn't a key part of my team at all. It was really just to set up hazards and taunt things in case things got out of hand. Now going to Hariyama to threaten him out. And he's going to withdraw, obviously. Does not want to take a close combat to the face. So I just go straight for the close combat. Didn't feel like predicting anything this match. And as you can see, that does pretty decent damage, to be honest. You know, Hariyama is pretty strong. So, this Clefable's really looking like a big problem for me right now. I do have two things with Heavy Slam. This Snorlax actually has Heavy Slam, not Superpower. He goes for the Cosmic Power, and right here I'm like, I'm going to get swept by Clefable. I am just straight up going to get swept. At this point, I kind of forgot I had the Roar Gyarados. But I am going to go and go for the Heavy Slam right here and see how much it does to this Clefable, hoping that it's a decent amount. But he is at +2. Oh no, I go for the Body Slam trying to get the Para. And don't get it. That does literally 0. And I'm just thinking I'm screwed right now. And now I'm going to pull the switch into Gyara, because I knew I had to get this thing out of here. He is going to go for the Moonblast. Really glad he didn't have Cosmic or Stored Power, because that would have done a lot of damage. And here I'm just going to go for the Roar after all the leftovers and after turn effects come in. And he's just going to withdraw straight up. Not really sure why. I would have stayed in, gone for another Moonblast, but maybe he thought I was offensive and would have set up a sub or something like that. As I said, I'm going to go for the Roar. Brings in Empoleon, that just gets roared out, takes rocks damage. Really hoping wasn't the Manectric that would get roared in. Really hoping for the Landorus, but, you know. Gonna get more leftovers, blah blah blah, after turn effects. And gonna switch out, I believe, into Hariyama. Yes, and I'm going to chew, just straight chew this Volt Switch right here. After he does the Mega and gets the Intimidate. Blah blah blah. So many effects, man. This battle was quite long. Sam recorded it for me and was complaining about some effects and how long it was and bleh. So there is the Volt Switch. Chew that Volt Switch like a man. Got a pretty weird spread on this Hariyama, so. As I said, this Hariyama does outspeed the Clefable. I predict him to switch in to the Clefable and go for the Heavy Slam. And that does a lot. So, yeah. And he probably wasn't expecting me to outspeed him here, but I go for another one, and Clefable is dead. The biggest threat to my team, if I did not have Hariyama, is now gone, which is fantastic. Now he's going to bring in Keldeo, take advantage of just about everything. And right here, I need to know what set he is, so I'm going to pull the safest switch I have and go into Melodic. Now right here, he does reveal his set to me. He reveals the Hidden Power, and it is super effective, therefore I have to assume that's HP Electric for my Gyarados. So now I know that Celebi is a perfect switch into this thing the entire game. So he is going to make a interesting play and go into his Empoleon here on the Melodic. I'm just going to stay in and recover. I want to, you know, keep everything at pretty high health. Seeing if he'd stay in, not knowing I have to have the Mirror Coat or something like that. He now gets a free defog because I have Melodic in on this thing. But I also get a free switch into Hariyama. And at this point in the battle, he doesn't really have the best switch-ins to close combats from Hariyama, which is really, really nice, because every time I get Hariyama in on this Empoleon, something takes a really good amount of damage. You can't switch in Landorus, obviously, because it's at, I don't know, about 5%. So he is going to switch into Manectric, which is a decent play because of the Intimidate, but it is going to take a lot of damage from this close combat. I mean, that does a really good amount for being at -1. Now, I do get the defense drop, so I really don't want to stay in on this Manectric. So, I'm going to go into my other AV user, Snorlax, and I believe he just goes for a Volt Switch, which he does do. I now have an AV Snorlax in. Pretty predictable bringing in Keldeo or Conkeldurr here. He does go for a Keldeo, which I'm assuming is specs based on the damage. Actually, no, I think I calculated in that it's Scarfed, actually. I could be wrong. It was definitely Scarf for specs, but I believe that Scarf, that was a crit and did nothing. But Celebi is inside with the more after turn effects added to this game. I forget if I go for a sub or a seed here. I'm pretty sure I just go for a sub. No, I go for a Giga Drain, actually. Huh. Yeah, there's a lot of Empoleon on Celebi matchup and Empoleon and Melodic matchup this entire game, so that's basically what made this game so long. So, leftovers and leftovers, just ticking away at time. I go for the sub, kind of forgetting he has Roar, even though he doesn't go for it this turn. Just goes for a straight up Scald. Doesn't do anything, obviously, because I'm a Spadef Celebi, so just leftovers. Yep. So that's basically what this whole game is. Just after turn, Leech Seed, leftovers, blah 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 blah. Gonna go for the seed. I believe he goes for a Roar again. Yeah, he does. And I think I get put out into Gyarados again. Just kind of, no, Snorlax actually, which isn't half bad for me. I might have Earthquake on the Snorlax. I actually forget what it is. But, yeah. I think I have something to threaten this Empoleon. But he does switch out and goes into, yes, the Conkeldurr, Saucy Lady. I do have the Earthquake, which does nothing to Conkeldurr. I found out that after this match, I found out that this is a Rest Talk Spadef Conkeldurr, which is really cool. But that Drain Punch does nothing. I am a max attack Adamant with 252 in defense Snorlax, so that did nothing. This is actually a speed type. I'm not sure if he was running any speed, but I get the paralysis, and I was a bit scared that he would have the Mach Punch, because I wasn't sure at this point that he would be Spadef. Explosions! But I go for the self-destruct, and Snorlax, like a man, takes out the Conkeldurr. Very manly of Snorlax. Everybody remember that. It was beautiful. I'm probably going to put a thing in of Mr. Torque up there with saying explosions, but I don't know, maybe. Yeah. So I go into Melodic because I feel like it takes on just about everything on his team, and I thought he'd probably go into Landorus because he has the U-turn and has no hazards on his side of the field. So gonna go for U-turn, do no damage. Pretty sure he goes into Empoleon here. And this is the part of the match that's just like bleh. So you know what, I'm gonna go speed this up. I'll be right back. Alright, so that was about 5 minutes of stalling and blah, leftovers, blah, into about a minute or so. Basically, that whole time I was trying to get Celebi in on this Empoleon and had to get it recovered. If he got a burn right here, Celebi would have been dead, and this would have been a very, very, very different game. So, throughout that whole span, nothing really happened other than this Empoleon getting somewhat ward down. Yeah. That was really bad. That's what made this game so long, but hopefully it's not too bad after speeding this up. Still have a little bit to go, but not too much. Now, I am just trying to get Celebi as high health as possible. He does get the burn there, which doesn't really matter that much because I have Natural Cure anyway. The only significant thing about that whole thing is that Melodic got burned, which activated my Marvel Scale. That is the thing that got activated, which does possibly come into play later in the match. Basically, a move will do less damage later, but he's now gonna roar me into Gyarados. Just taking more rocks damage, and I can't really touch this thing. So yeah. This is a little bit more interesting part of the match. Just after this Empoleon dies, everything in the world is balanced. Which I do believe happens this turn, which is very, very nice. Because this Empoleon was just... I didn't really have anything except for Hariyama to take down this thing, so... Gonna go for the waterfall with Gyarados, pick up the kill, and Empoleon is finally down. That took a while, didn't it? Yep. Alright, so we have Gyarados at over half health. Just a tiny bit over half health. He's gonna bring in Manectric here, and at this point I'm like, you know what, Gyarados, you've done nothing except for pick up a kill on a 5% health Empoleon, so you're going down right now, buddy. You've done well, sorta. Not really, but, yeah. Manectric is going to take out Gyarados, and I really just wanted to free switch into Celebi. Really hoping he wouldn't have the Signal Beam or the Overheat. He has the Flamethrower, in fact, which does nothing. I would have eaten up an Overheat, too, which is pretty awesome. Celebi's a beast. But, yeah, Signal Beam probably would have killed me, though, which would have been really, really unfortunate. Alright, so we have Celebi back at over half. Really threatening his team at this point, except for this Landorus, because it obviously has the U-turn. So, I am going to switch out into, like, the greatest switching in the world now, because, you know, Hariyama is just the universal switch into Landorus. He's just gonna go for the U-turn and do a solid 33 damage, HP damage. Manly Landorus is manly. So, yeah. He's gonna go into Keldeo because it can kill me with just about anything. Go for the Hydro, take me out. But once again, at this point, I have a free switch into either Melodic or Celebi, but I think Celebi is probably the better play. Just because it threatens this thing offensively with Giga Drain. So I am just going to stay in and go for Giga Drain because I believe all he has left is this and Landorus. And I probably could have preserved Differential right here by going for a sub and being able to take out Landorus without it killing me. But that did not happen. So that is my dog barking. I hope that is not too loud. But he's just going to go for another Hydro Pump. Hit 3 in a row, which is quite impressive. And I'm just going to take out his Keldeo with 2 Giga Drains. Celebi put in a lot of work this match. Definitely the MVP for me. Keldeo goes down. And I believe he just has one Mon left, which is the Landorus. Which will come in after the leftovers. Too much leftovers in this match. I am so sorry, Gary. So yep, he has the Landorus. And he is going to go for the manliest of manly plays and go for Fly. Scarfed Flylanders because Gary is a man, obviously. So yeah, I'm just gonna let Celebi go down to Flylanders because it looks hilarious. Dead Celebi is dead. And at this point, I only have Melodic left. I know he is locked in to Fly, so I'm gonna be I'm gonna be that guy and go for a recover on this turn because I don't know if he crit me or got a super mega ultra crit flinch. I don't know. I didn't want to die, so he is going to come down in Blades of Glory, Tails of Glory, Skies of Glory, and die to an Ice Beam. So there's the game, folks. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like. Go check out Gary. He's an awesome guy and battler, and I'll catch you all next time. Peace out.